Good morning, Edge Radio Australia, here for Soulbirth. The lovely Faye here to basically get me back on track. Because last week, did we go a little off track? What do you think? We are. Now, we've got a little problem. Someone's turned off your microphone, which is very, very helpful. There's a little switch there. If you just want to find that, that'll be great. Hang on, it'll be one moment. Highly technical problem. 1 second. No, it's right here. Hang on. All right. Is that the right button? Yes, except you are not working. So I do not know what's happened there. That's not good. Let me just find out. Sorry. Doesn't make any sense at all.
It does it, Aaron? It's got to go with the flow.
You've got to go with the flow. Now, okay. Well, we had your microphone. It worked perfectly minutes ago, but in this highly technical world that we live in.
Good old technology.
Okay.
Wonderful, isn't it?
It certainly is.
It's terrible when it doesn't.
That's right.
It's just to give you a little challenge in the morning.
I need plenty of them, don't I?
Just to see if you're awake or not.
All right. Well, what I might do is do something a little technical here. It's extremely technical. Let's just do this.
Swapping mics.
There we go. Look. You know what? Nothing else. We will just compromise, and we'll sort that out later. There we go.
This one works, does it?
Soon will. There we go. Now talk away.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, look at that. Jeez.
Hello, and we're back. We are live.
Well, I hope people enjoy the first minute 40 of the show. Me fiddling around looking for microphones at work, but hey, we're back in action now.
That's it.
As I said before, we got a bit off track last week. Let's face it, very, very off track indeed. So,
but we like getting off the beaten track here, don't we, Aaron?
What's where we spend our best time?
It is.
Absolutely.
Who wants to stay on the main track where everybody else is?
Very dull indeed. So, now that we're back on the track, where are we heading?
Where are we heading? Well, good question.
Road to nowhere?
Wherever spirit takes us. Well, today I thought because we went off track a little bit we didn't go off track at all. We just kind of went with the flow, didn't we? Which is what it's all about.
Very,
We're
very
all
true.
about
Indeed.
going with the flow here. And so, we want to keep to the conversation that's relevant.
Yeah,
it's just that we didn't kind of cover a lot of what I planned to last week. But we will today because we're having part 2 today so that we can actually continue on with the conversation and kind of elaborate on it.
All right. Well, let's elaborate on that. Okay. Where would you like to start?
Well, I mean, last week we did actually cover, soul contracts, with parents.
Yeah.
We did cover that.
We did cover that. So we didn't give that a miss.
Yeah. No. Because, we did discuss how we choose our parents, even though that might not, you may not think
it just seems so bizarre. It really does. I'm still struggling with it. I love the concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think about the people who don't have particularly good ones.
Yeah.
Why would you choose them? But obviously, look, the world's got a top and a world's got a bottom. It's got a front, it's got a back, it's got to have a good, it's got to have a bad, right?
We do. And we choose the situations that we are going to come into that will help us to grow and evolve as a soul, which we did discuss, because that's all important. That's the whole reason for being, apparently.
Oh, well, I hope so. That's the story you tell me anyway,
Exactly.
So I'll believe you on that one.
But we are meant to enjoy life as well, we have these, ups and downs and a bit like going, off the beaten track occasionally, because our life plan when we come in. Oh, I think I'm losing my microphone there.
Oh, it's got a bit tight. Okay, there we go.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Okay, just needs a little blue pill to be fine.
It's doing its own thing today. It's also going with the flow.
Oh, look, it's been a big weekend. I know today's Tuesday, but we didn't actually broadcast from the studio yesterday. It was actually done off-site.
Right.
So, we had a little party on Friday night, a little get-together.
Yes, I heard.
It was not really it was a political party.
Wow.
And it dragged on a little bit. So, look, maybe we might need to go around and tighten a few things up. Things may have gone a little off the rails over the weekend. But
that's all right. Once again, it was going with the flow because it was really important on Friday that you had that.
Certainly was, absolutely.
It's all very relevant to everything that you're doing.
Giving a voice to independents and small parties, it's really, really important. So,
it sure is. So,
as we sort of saw over the weekend. So that'll flow on from there. But we're here to talk about souls and contracts and all those goodies.
And like going on different trails, we come in with a plan in,
in life.
Yeah, that, you know, this is what we call our destiny or whatever, as our soul chooses a path that we're going to follow roughly, but then it's up to our individual personality and our physical self, which has conscious choice and free will, as to whether we follow the path directly or whether we take the side roads and all that. So,
well, like I think I've always taken the side roads.
I know,
I'm not much for the freeway. Yeah, and I think
I like all the little detours because it makes life colourful and interesting.
That's
doesn't
right.
it?
Okay, in a really simple metaphor, get on the freeway, okay, and just drive. Okay, life is very, very dull, right?
And you quite often miss what you're passing so fast and miss the beautiful scenery and all the other stuff.
So true. Watch the movie Cars, the animated,
I haven't seen that.
super show. Honest, no, it's got a beautiful little metaphor for life actually in there. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly that. Smell the roses.
Oh, nice, yeah. And that's what it's all about, because our life is here to enjoy as well as to have our whatever lessons or challenges that we've chosen as a soul. It's not all supposed to be hard, but sometimes we choose a bumpy road as well.
We do take that part.
So choosing our parents is an individual choice, but it's all soul contracts with other souls that you may have been, you know, in past lives with. And even your siblings, we choose our siblings and other energies or people that will come into our life at different times that will help sort of take you on another path, which is where you're either meant to go or not, but you'll find your way. And you find in life that, you know, sometimes things just flow and it's like the doors are all opening for you because you're doing something that's soul aligned. And other times you're trying to push against the flow and go where you're not supposed to go, and it's like the doors are slamming in your face.
Oh, how incredibly true is that, honestly. When you are on your path, I mean, I wouldn't say it's easy. You still got those challenges, but things do tend to, the old story of dropping in your lap. They really do.
Exactly.
You know, you kind of think, okay, you know, you hit a hurdle, and then this comes from, sort of off in the corner here to clarify, to sort that problem out, to be a resolution for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So synchronicities, small synchronicities happening. People call them a coincidence or luck, but you know, they're actually the synchronicities are actually what we follow. That's a good sign that you're on path. You're in the flow. Yeah. And when
if the universe provides, then you must be on the right path.
That's right. Yeah, because when you're really in that soul aligned space, then you tend to have more synchronicities, and the more you follow them and trust them, the more open up for you.
Fair cool. All right. Well, what's ways that we can ensure that we spend as much time on that nice path, right? And where things are synced up, where things are falling into place. What is there anything I can do in my everyday life to make that happen?
Yeah. So we've already covered quite a few of them in individual shows that we've had, like, you know, the meditation is a big one.
Oh yes, I know you're a very big fan.
I am. And as we discovered that you actually do meditate,
I do,
you didn't think you could do it. So it's amazing, isn't it?
Just differently. We all do it differently.
We do.
Yeah, there's no with me. It's very, very different indeed. But there you go.
Exactly, but we all have different ways of meditating. It's when you're in this soul line space. But, you know, it's about the stopping to smell the roses, or, you know, to be in nature, to connect with nature, whether you're sitting and meditating or whether you're hugging a tree, or whether you're, you know, smelling the roses literally, or whether you're just enjoying your cup of tea in the morning and just being in mindfulness meditation. Those moments are when you drop into this beautiful space where there's nothing else that is going to, you know, direct you.
And we so often make it so hard. Like, okay, we kind of almost talk ourselves out of it. On Saturday, a Maro from the station here, okay, who does our relationship shows, he celebrated 10 years in Australia, okay?
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
Happy anniversary, Maro.
Yeah, absolutely. A little get-together was really nice. But what I'm getting at, we went down to Hyde Park, you know, had just, you know, a couple of drinks, some nibblies, and just a chat, and I met all these new people and stuff. Okay, and like right there in the heart of all of this hustle and bustle is this beautiful park and the waterland, and you can actually appreciate it. You can actually ground yourself. You know, and I mean, that was a combination of meeting new people, and we're having great conversations, and my mind is being fed that way. Yeah. But my soul's also being fed at the same time, because I'm out there in the grass and the trees.
Totally, especially when you can kick off the shoes and put your feet on the earth and ground yourself.
I didn't do that, but maybe I should have. Maybe I should have.
Because the more we ground ourselves, or, you know, actually put our feet in contact with the earth, the more we're in connection with nature and spirit and, you know, our higher self, and allow the energy to flow. So we need to be grounded, and also opening up our crown chakra so that we can allow messages to come in, and so that comes with meditation as well. And
I've got a hinge on the back of my hat. It just pops up.
Just pop your head open.
Just in it comes. But even like silly little things, like, well, not little things, but okay, I remember on the weekend, as I say, I remember the trees, right? Okay,
Mhm.
and I'm a big tree fan. Okay, I love
Mhm.
my trees. And the trees there reminded me of my childhood, and like
Yeah.
they were very, very similar to the style that I would climb as a child and
Mhm.
have fun with, and all that kind of swing a rope from, and
Yep.
that. So all of these, nature is a great way of linking great parts of your life together.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And when you stop and listen to the trees, they can actually tell you stuff. And
I haven't really spent a lot of time talking to the trees, but you do you.
that's my woo-woo thing.
That's your
See,
woo,
like
okay.
yeah, and I know there's lots of my friends, most of my friends actually woo-woos as well with me,
Yeah.
and tune into the trees and the ground, and the birds. They all talk to you. When a crow stops and you can have a whole conversation with a crow.
Do you know what's really nice about that? As far as little birds that are out there in the wildlife, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know how often it happens to everybody, but birds stop and talk to me a lot.
Yeah.
And it makes me really happy. And like little willy wagtails,
Mhm.
like for years in my old house, these two little willy wagtails would come every single day, and they'd sit on my front veranda on the railing.
Yep.
And talk to me through the kitchen while I was preparing
Uh-huh.
breakfast or whatever. And have these little conversations every single day, like clockwork. And then after years, sadly, it just became one willy wagtail. His partner had obviously passed away.
Yep.
Wife, husband, whatever. I don't know. I'm not up with the marital status of willy wagtails. But then the one would come, and still consistently. So over probably an 8-year period, every single day, and they'd get right on the side and they just talk, and I could walk out there and be standing a metre away from them. You think, gee, how good's this? How good's this? You feel so connected, right?
You do. And that's a beautiful way to practice tuning into spirit, because if you start actually, having those conversations with birds and listening to what they say, then it helps you to tune into the rest of nature as well.
Right. Well, a lot of birds have led me astray.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which type of birds are we talking about?
Different ones, not the feathered variety. There we go. Are we still allowed to use the term birds? Probably not. Probably not. Oh, look at that. I just broke all the rules.
Uh-oh.
Never mind.
Again.
Never mind. Yeah. It's how we do things
habit,
around
isn't
here.
it?
Yeah.
So the same thing goes like listening to the spirit of a baby. So if you're wanting to conceive, if you can tune in and start listening, much like you listen to nature, but put the intention out there to sort of find, is there a soul waiting to come in? Like, we wanted to have a baby, you want to have conscious conception. So start thinking about, or putting your mind to, if there's a soul out there, and then trying to connect with them and opening up to receiving messages from them.
Yep.
Because we make soul contracts, as we've talked about, and these souls that are waiting to come in through us as our children are actually there. They're around us. And there's signs as well that they're around you. So you may not even you might not be able to see them or hear them or anything, but there's signs, like you might start seeing energetic, orbs. I always see blue orbs.
Oh, right.
Yeah, when there's a little soul waiting to give me a message, either for somebody else or when I was waiting to become pregnant or whatever, I had little souls appear, first of all, in a little blue orb. I just saw it floating through the air, and then I'd tune into it and, have and then meet whoever it was and have this conversation to find out what they wanted.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Be able to do that. What about the other end of life? Those little orbs, what colour are they now?
Oh, well, I usually, when I've been with people when they've passed over, I've seen their soul kind of lift out of their body, like, and go to the light. But it's just been kind of like their energetic body that I see, So it's not an orb as such.
Gotcha.
But every now and again, like it's only happened a few times where I've, felt death around me, and I've smelt like frankincense when it's not actually around, but a strong sense of frankincense, probably because you associate that quite often with funerals.
Oh,
right. In the church, the priest will sort of shake that frankincense around. So quite often, when I've had this overwhelming smell of frankincense, when there's actually none of it around, and then it's like, oh my gosh, it's quite often somebody either that's about to pass or somebody who's just passed and has a message for me.
Wow.
So really interesting.
Very lucky for you. I mean, it's like, I assume it's a blessing and a curse. So sometimes, maybe you don't want to have that information.
Well, there was a time in life where I thought it was a curse, and I actually asked to have it switched off because I didn't want, to be bombarded all the time by all these spirits talking to me. And then it kind of shut down for me.
Oh, really?
And
it actually worked?
It did, yeah.
Hitting the brakes actually worked. Okay.
Yeah. But then what I found is, because I've always had that ever since I can remember as a child, that suddenly my life went really black and white and dull, colourless and boring. And I'm like, what's going on? It's like somebody turned all the sound off and all the colour. My world was just like what's going on? Because I've never known it to be that still and quiet.
So for those of us who don't feel like they've got certainly a skill like that, I'm not. I don't know. I don't openly sense other beings and things. I absolutely openly sense another power, right? And I've talked about this before, but I mean, I love doing this. I just do. If I'm driving my car and I'm driving along and I go to the traffic lights and I see there's someone like 80 meters away, right? Then I'll just look at them. They're looking in a completely other direction, and then they look at you.
Yeah.
Right? And you think,
using your willpower. Look at me. Look at me.
Basically, it's another power. It's another level that's there.
Yeah,
right?
so you're connecting on a soul level or an energetic level.
Maybe. Or the car beside you, whatever. Whatever. What I'm saying is that there is definitely another sense there. If that person's not looking at you or listening to you or whatever, they're just there, and you kind of go, hey baby. Then they can come into your life.
Oh, now we can clarity that.
No. I just said that for fun. But
it's true. You can have energetic conversations or, quantum communication or what have you, but it's where you tap into another person. Like, especially I find this really useful if you're in conflict with someone.
Right.
And you don't want to have a confrontation because you're never going to win or, it's all going to escalate and you never get the upper hand or you're never going to be heard.
Okay.
So what you can do is actually have a communication in spirit with them. So you can actually, because you tap into their higher self, so visualize them and visualize yourself talking to them. And then you can have the conversation that you want to have, but to their higher self or their energetic body, rather than having to confront them in person and have a conversation. And it goes so well because their higher self is drooping in. Yeah. Their higher self
you can just there's a little knob there. You can tighten it up if you like.
Way.
There we go. Just,
yeah,
give it a bit of love.
That's all right. I'll just keep straightening it up.
We'll adjust it. I was about to say in the break, but we don't do breaks.
No,
there we go. We go through.
That's right. Maybe the microphone's drooping at the thought of this. So what I'm talking about.
It's all a bit much for it. Well, while you chat away, I will go and adjust the microphone.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is when we have these energetic communications or quantum communications with someone, it actually works because I've found repeatedly that when I do that, then the next time I actually see them, they're very different. And it's like they've heard my conversation. So they kind of take the conversation from there.
Right.
It's just kind of weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
It is weird. It's very cool at the same time. Just hold that thought for 1 second.
Talking about communication. Interesting, isn't it? Oh, there you go. It's all about how it was balanced in the holder.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. We shall see.
Let's
anyway,
see if we got away with that.
Talking about communication. Don't you just love the way?
Oh, exactly. Well, without the great talking sticks, I mean, the great thing is we can talk to so many people all around the world with this. So it's, a little bit of tech. It's good for you, even though sometimes they don't want to play the game.
Exactly. We love it. And it's a love-hate relationship, isn't it?
Very much so.
It's so useful, but when it doesn't work or plays up, then it's a pain. But it's like everything, really, isn't it?
Very, very true indeed. But, well, life's got a challenge everywhere. It's like the band, Rage Against the Machine. Now, clearly, they named that band after a printer.
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah,
honestly.
Right. How many times have you argued with a printer in your life?
Yeah, totally.
It drive you nuts being them.
Always runs out of ink right when you don't want it to.
Yep. Very, very true indeed. All right. Now, you had all these wonderful subjects that you wanted to talk about last week. I took you on the merry-go-round of my brain, which took you miles away. So what other subjects did you want to talk about today as far as or more, what would you like to really focus on? Yeah,
because it's all about soul and spirit baby communication.
Yep.
So maybe, how does one know if the baby to come in is trying to communicate with you? Because it's one way us trying to communicate with them, but what if the soul is actually trying to communicate with you and is saying, listen to me, listen to me.
So how do you hear that? How? That's a really good point.
It is.
I mean, unless you're really listening out for it.
Yeah, that's right. And if you don't know about that, but lots of people have had, signs from the baby waiting to come in, and it might be in the way of butterflies,
right,
or feathers, which is very common with when somebody's passed as well. So a lot of people who've lost a loved one, they know that the loved one is around them still in spirit because they will start seeing feathers turning up all the time.
Really?
Yeah, or butterflies.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really okay.
And then it's like reassuring because you know that person is still around you. So it works the same at that end as well, at the beginning of life, so that if you out of nowhere start seeing a lot of butterflies or, feathers,
Right.
they can be signs that there's a spirit baby trying
I've
to
never heard
communicate
that
with
before
you.
in my life.
Mm.
I mean, on the slightly negative, but work with me here thing. When my mum passed away, which is a long, long time ago, it was very sudden. It was very awful in every possible way, right? And I've got to get clinical the way I talk about it because that's, it upsets me. But I was angry at my mum for a very long time because I thought, why won't you haunt me?
No,
haunt me? No, I want to know. Like, I want to know you're there. You've I don't know whether you've crossed the other side. I don't know, but I want some sort of confirmation. I wanted something to happen.
Yeah. Did you ask her to show you a sign?
Yes, I did.
You did, and did you get any? Or
I got some horrific nightmares, like absolutely just.
Well, you asked her to haunt you.
Well, haunt.
Well, you got to be careful with your words, Aaron, because if you say haunt, haunt does mean scary, like in the movies. Stuff. Yeah. So,
okay. Maybe I did that.
It's all about your words, like communication. Again, it's the words we use are powerful.
They are.
They're like spells. You got to be really careful with your words because you can manifest. And manifestation is all about using your words with intention.
Of course.
So if you're asking her to haunt you, well, that also shows up in your dreams. So if you're having nightmares, you asked her to haunt you. So there you got it.
So I got what I asked for.
You did.
I wanted something more pleasant. I just wanted a sign.
Well, you should have said that. You should have said, I want a positive sign. I want a loving sign to show me that you're around me.
Oh, see?
So you got to be careful.
See, where were you back then? Come on, Faye. Get your act together.
Well, obviously, you had to have that experience. So you could share it today because there's probably plenty of people out there listening that have the same experience. And
good point.
Need to know you have to be really careful with the words that you ask. And if you want to communicate with those who have passed, know that you can. Like they're just... It's such a thin veil between this dimension and that dimension, and they're always around. They always hear you, and just because they're gone from the physical realm doesn't mean they're gone forever. Like they're still there, and you can still communicate with them. And if you just have a conversation with them as normal as if they're here, you'll probably start hearing things back, or you'll start getting signs that they're there. And if you're open to hearing, you can say, can you please speak to me or appear? Not everybody's going to see them.
Sure.
And because a lot of people have a deep-seated fear about seeing a ghost or seeing an entity or anything that's not of this realm. So they block it unintentionally and then they wonder why they can't see things.
Oh, look, I've been married 2.5 times. I'm not afraid of anything. Jeez, I've seen fear.
I bet you if a ghost just suddenly appeared in the night time, you'd freak. Yeah.
I'd be running like an 8-year-old girl. Yep, absolutely. No, I don't know. I have actually experienced a ghost. So, in fact, a couple, but one very, very, very specifically, in a very detailed way, many years ago. And so my sister's boyfriend, of all things, came back and for quite a long time haunted the house, but in a positive way.
He probably just wanted to give you a message or something.
Yeah.
Did you ask him what he wanted?
All jokes aside, I just made the joke about the ex-wives, but honestly, he hated my first wife. Absolutely hated my first wife, and not in life because they didn't actually ever cross paths, but afterwards, he did all sorts of things like, so I'll give you an example. Like once, and if I hadn't seen this, I'd be going, woohoo, whatever. But there was a picture frame that had myself and my first wife in it, a picture of us. And anyway, it would fly across the room and end up face down all the time.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And anyway, it got to the point where actually my ex-wife thought that was me, like from the point of view of like she would come in and go, why has our picture been taken down? Why is it face down? And all yada, yada, yada. And it wasn't me. No one was doing it, but no one was in there and doing it. Yeah. And then, physically I actually saw it happen once.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
You kind of go, oh, geez, who's trying to warn me of something, I guess. I don't know.
Or it makes me wonder whether he was earthbound because, when we die, if our vibrational frequency is low, we get stuck on the earth plane.
Right.
And so unless somebody can clear you, raise your frequency so you can cross over properly, you can stay on the earth plane, and that's when you get a ghost, ghosts or haunted houses. It's just because they're souls that haven't crossed over fully, and so they're stuck here. So quite often it can be, if somebody's committed suicide, or if they've been, if they've been in a car accident and died very suddenly, and
that's how he died.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they can be kind of in shock and be stuck here just because they kind of lost.
Right.
And so you can help them cross over. But if they're stuck here, then that's when they can cause, do things like that.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas a soul who's crossed over and healed and is like back in the light doesn't do that kind of stuff.
Well, very interesting on that front. That particular person was doing all sorts of, I don't know, like mischievous things, right, for years, in a lot of and a light-hearted manner, kind of thing. We all got very used to it, and that. But years later, there was an opening of the front door and a closing of the front door, and I heard them walking down the stairs and walking out.
Yeah, right.
And never had that energy in the house ever again.
So he left. He said, "Well, no point saying anything here because you don't listen."
maybe. But my point was, I actually believe what you're saying there, as far as, not that I will disbelieve you anyway, but from the point of view of I experienced with my own life that I saw someone who was clearly stuck, and whatever had happened had actually allowed them to cross over, and then and I would like to think that person went on to have a really happy afterlife.
Yeah, right. So hopefully found someone who could help them across.
Yeah,
because that's part of what I do too with my energy clearance work and stuff, is that I help ghosts, stuck energies to cross over.
Right.
So they're not stuck here, because it doesn't serve them to stay stuck.
No.
We want them to cross over and heal and move on back to spirit.
But when we're talking about the other end of life, we're talking about babies, right? Okay, before they make their way, and when their energy before they're a physical life.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you tune yourself into accepting that or seeing the signs? I mean, I can't control obviously what the baby's thinking, but from my point of view, how do I tune myself into just being aware of that.
So it comes down to intention and the willingness to explore this, knowing that it's possible, that you can communicate with the soul of the baby that's waiting to come in, and then slowing down and sitting still and actually, making the space to do it. So you create sacred space, whether it's just for yourself, your energy, or whether you create a sacred space in your home, somewhere that I always recommend getting a daily ritual going where you're actually sitting, making the time to create this space to tune in. Light a candle if that helps, because it's setting your intention. So anything you can do that actually sets your intention for what you want to do. And then I always do a bit of a, white lighting and energetic cleansing to make sure that I'm not actually attracting other spirits, because when you're opening to communicate, you just got to make sure.
So how do you do that?
So do what?
Clear that space.
Yeah, so I always set my intention because I'm always working with my guides anyway. So I'm always asking to clear away any negative or disharmonious energies and send them back to their original source. And then so they can't come back. And then I white light myself, and I do this every morning in the shower. I always do white lighting because it's easy to visualize white light coming down when you're under the shower. Because it's, the warm water is like white light. So just see yourself getting bathed in white light, flushing away any negativity.
Got the decore going.
Yeah, exactly. I could just see you doing a decore ad actually back when you had your long locks.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you're not a good ad for it now, though.
No.
See what happened.
Maybe for floor polishing, but that's about it, really. Yes. Many years ago when I was doing live gigs and stuff, we used to actually have some fun with that. We used to play the Duke of Oil song and give people a bottle of decore, and they do this big live performance. Lots of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah.
Good to see people just let go and let loose. Yeah. And so many people feel they have to get drunk to do that, or bloody take some sort of sometimes just anyway. You know what? Just get out and be a wally. It's good for you.
Exactly. You've got to have fun, raise our vibrational frequency. Because, when we have fun, joy is one of the highest vibrational frequencies.
I can imagine that. I can imagine that.
So love and joy, if you can stay in those states, create a life of joy, doing things you love that you're passionate about, it helps to raise your vibrational frequency. Okay. And then you attract all good things. And then it's easy to tune into this energy as well and open up to the right energies as well.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So all right. I'm really fascinating on this. Basically, I would never. I think everybody is well aware of how much I love my kids, right? And not having them in my life it breaks my heart every single day, right? So when I know people who are trying to have children and that, it's just the greatest gift. In fact, look, just last night I was with friends who told me, announced that they're pregnant with their second child, right? And
beautiful.
Oh man, it's
congratulations.
Just the coolest. Yeah, absolutely. And it just warms my heart that they want to tell me personally. It's really lovely. Now where I'm kind of going is this, that when a lot of people are trying to have kids, it's not easy these days. People are finding it harder and harder and harder. Is there, not apart from, obviously the thing you said in the shower, I reckon that's really smart. But other ways you can sort of, as a ritual that you could open your heart and open your soul to
definitely
getting that contract going.
Yeah. So, individually, so both partners can do this, and it's beautiful if you can do it together.
Takes
and have
two to tango.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you're wanting to both bring in a child and you're wanting to do it in a conscious way, so conscious conception, then it's really beautiful if you can do these rituals together every night. And just it is a matter of making that little space, which is nice in any couple, just to make space to be together in that loving energy.
I think you've got to do it.
Yeah, you do. And whether you have a candle or not, or, create your own sacred space, whether you've got a place in your home that you can create a beautiful space, or whether it's just sitting down together at the table or on the couch or wherever. And just, you could look into each other's eyes so you connect, because, the eyes are the windows of the soul.
They are.
Yeah. So you can, when you look into each other's eyes, then you actually connect with that higher self, of each other. And then you're more connected with spirit anyway. And even just looking without eye gazing, without speaking, just, and fall into the depths of, that unconditional love that's there.
That's incredible. I'm going to right now mention one of the worst shows in history, one of the worst things, one of the worst parts of society, but a positive about it. Married at First Sight.
Oh, okay. I've never watched it.
It's just horrendous. It is car crash TV, right? Okay. I wasn't watching. In fact, I did actually start watching it this season because we were actually going to do a show about it, but it hasn't come to fruition. Just run out of time, basically. But anyway, they did one. It's a terrible, horrible, horrible car crash experience, and they manipulate people, and the TV stations are manipulating people to make ratings, right? But one of the things that they were talking about connection, and one of the little tasks they were given was exactly what you were saying about sitting down with each other.
Yep.
And they had to look into each other's eyes for a particular amount of time. I can't remember, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was.
Yep.
Okay. And I thought to myself, like, man, it would be hard.
It is a hard exercise. It's confronting.
Yeah, confronting.
Very
Spot
confronting.
on.
But that's the beauty of it. It's like if you can't look into each other's eyes and see the beauty, then what are you doing together, kind of thing?
No, I completely agree. Because I've actually had this experience with someone in my past, and I actually tried to do that.
Right.
And she just kept giggling, right? And giggling. And I thought, well, like, okay, I'm glad that you find me funny.
No,
but
it's not that. It's not about that at all.
No.
It's actually, she's probably uncomfortable because you open yourself up to being really seen.
Yes, and that's what it was. It was insecurity.
Yeah, totally.
And so, so this exercise on TV, I think it's something that I think all couples should do.
Yeah,
I really
totally.
do.
If you want to really know each other, to really see each other for who you are, that's, really see each other, then look into your eyes, and not to speak, just to be with each other in your energy, and to look deep into each other's eyes and actually connect soul to soul. And that's when the beauty happens and the magic happens, because then it's like it opens up your crown chakra, it opens up all your spiritual faculties.
Yeah.
And then in that space you can invite this soul in as well. You can connect as a couple with this soul that's waiting to come in, that's chosen you both to be the parents. And then you go, wow, and then you can have this conversation with your spirit and tell them how much you love them and you can't wait for them to come in. And you want this beautiful conscious conception, and it's through sacred unity that you bring this soul in. And imagine the difference in the world if all souls were born into love like that.
What an amazing difference. Right now the world is so noisy that you just don't get that opportunity to connect with others, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And most babies are conceived in a very unconscious way. You're obviously aware of it, but you haven't got the intention
tequila,
set there.
get my scotch.
Which is very sad, because imagine a baby coming in that's been conceived that way. It's a different energy, isn't it? And that's laying down the blueprint for life. So, having a thought about that, when you choosing to bring a child into the world, knowing that it's only going to happen, once, twice, 3 times, whatever, how many children you're going to have, it's a pretty special occasion, and it's a huge responsibility too. You're bringing this new being into the world. Don't you want them to have the best start? Don't you want them to come in feeling loved and set their blueprint up for life, based on love, so that they're going to always feel secure and loved in their life, and so they're going to bring that forward?
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm running at a 33% success rate when it comes to this. I've got 3 beautiful children that I've been dad to, and genetically, and Second one. I love my boys, love my boys, but they were not planned pregnancies, either of them, right? Yeah, one I was literally with someone like, minutes. Well, felt that way.
La 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 la.
No. But with my daughter, and my daughter is just such an absolute like quintessential ball of love, right?
Mhm.
And she was conceived in, look, as close to that kind of picture as you can say. She was planned. It was a very loving environment. All of that. It was just a lot of positivity. And I look at her personality, and I think to myself, like, I didn't think it then, but after talking to you and experience more about life, I now realise that that set her up differently. Yeah. And has it affected her personality? Would she have been that way? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, my boys are boys, right? Okay.
Yeah. It's really hard to tell later. Like, did it have, because their personalities are so different anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
exactly
life
right.
is different for each one. Yeah. Every child is different.
You don't know, but but I can say from the point of view of, okay, my beautiful little girl was consciously conceived, right there. I mean, this is very much, and not just a planned pregnancy. We wanted it to be a really, really positive thing. I think life was going really well in that regard. And I don't know, in a love sense and a spiritual sense, I suppose life was pretty good at that moment. So you wonder.
I know.
You wonder.
But the good thing here, and this brings up a whole other conversation, which I'm sure people listening are probably asking, because if you didn't conceive consciously like that, and a lot of people feel guilt afterwards that you didn't conceive naturally, or consciously, I should say.
Yep.
And so, like, have I done the wrong thing by my child and now their life is ruined because I didn't bring them in that way in love? It's like, well, it's never too late to actually tune into them energetically, and you can actually tell them in spirit, energetically, all the stuff that you would like to say to them. Like if you say, wow, now I know, because like you did what you knew at the time.
Of course.
And as you go through life and you learn more and you become more conscious, and then you think, oh boy, now I feel really bad that, I didn't do that for that one, or, whatever. So you can always tune into them. So much like we were saying, you can actually create that space, and you can actually then tune into their higher self, no matter what age they are, even if they're 40 years old, you can tune into them and have a conversation with their higher self, or quantum communication, to actually maybe apologize if that's how you feel. Like, I'm so sorry, like I didn't get to do conscious conception because I didn't know about it at the time, and if I had known, I would have liked to do it, but know that I love you so much and I wanted to bring you in love. And you can apologize for anything you want throughout the life that you might have been feeling guilty about, and just give them so much love and light, and you can communicate with them as much as you want, and they receive it on a higher level.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I know with my first son, that when he was born, I certainly knew nothing about any conscious, conception or any positivity in that. None of that, right? Absolutely none of that. In fact, I don't absolutely. I can be confident and say, I wasn't prepared to be a dad at that time. I wasn't ready. All of that. But okay, I say that. But the moment he was born, I was ready. Like it flicked a switch and it changed who I was, right?
Amazing,
so,
isn't it?
it is amazing. There's so many dads out there who would feel the same way. Is, I suppose, coming up to when your child's born, there's this anxiety about the fact, am I good enough? Do I know enough? Do I make enough money? Do I, all of these things,
which is why kids are actually our biggest teachers, because they help you reflect all those things, and then you improve yourself ually when a child comes on the scene, because you want to be a great parent. Most of the time. Well,
that certainly happened in my life, and I think that when my son came along, I thought, right, oh my word, this is time to step up. This is time to put the, I don't know, I'm going to use the term selfish, but when you're, particularly when you're younger and you're on your own, obviously you're not on your own if you're having a child, but like that period leading up to it, okay, your life is very centered around yourself and gratification and instant gratification and all of that, right? Whereas when you have a child,
suddenly you have to be responsible for another whole being. It's like, oh my gosh.
But for me, it was incredibly positive experience. It took
good.
that focus off myself. It did make me look at the bigger picture. I realized that it doesn't matter how much money how much money you don't have or do have or whatever.
Doesn't matter.
You just adapt.
You do.
Adapt. Yeah.
And children, they don't need all the things that we think they need.
Absolutely.
As long as you give them love and your time, that's what children need more than anything. Is actually you showing up and being present for them, and actually really getting to know them, getting to love them for who they are, and knowing that all kids are different. So because we always seem to have expectations of our children. We want them to be I used to think, when you have kids, they're going to be little mini me's running around. It's like, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
Not at all. But it's actually learning to love them for who they are completely, no matter what they're like. So even if they're not behaving in the way you would like to, it's the behavior you don't like. It's not the child that you don't love. So
that's a really good point. It's a really good point. When my son was okay, and sorry to keep talking about myself, but this is the way I relate. I mean,
no, that's right. This is good because your experiences are actually really valid and valuable as well.
Thank you. And as I say, for me, this is all being introduced to my life. So for me, it's new and fresh, and it's sort of changing. So, but what you just said about your child, like I used to joke about the fact that, okay, I'm a rally guy, I'm a car guy. So, I would joke about the fact that, my son was Evo, right? Like the evolution version of me. Because that's what, with a race car, you have the Evo, the evolution of the last model. Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of how it works. And, okay, when my son Ari was born, the Australian Rally Sport News, which was the newspaper magazine of the day, that would cover the sport. They wrote an article about Ari being born, and they were saying, sort of look out, that son of Aaron Malloy, look out, Rally Australia 2013 and all of that, right? And I loved that, and I had that on the wall, and it's all gone now. But till the day that the fire went through, I still had that in my cabinet on my wall.
Wow,
in the house, the newspaper article laminated.
Yeah.
And because I was so proud, I was so proud of my boy. But then, okay, here's the thing. What if he didn't want to be a rally driver?
Exactly.
Right?
And we put all these expectations on them that you're going to grow up and be the mini you and be the...
That's right.
But then isn't that unfair that we put that on them?
It is so unfair. And I mean, in this case, a national newspaper also puts pressure on him.
So growing up, he's probably got this feeling that he has to achieve that or else he's a failure or something, Yeah,
which is... and then that's such a problem. I'm absolutely guilty of it, of the fact that, you do live through your children to an extent.
But I think we all do that to a certain extent. And it's not until you become a bit aware of, again, it's like your conversation, the words you say, but it's also the actions like that. Until you actually become aware and actually know, because you don't know until you know, then you can actually go, wow, okay. And then, then you can apologise if you want to and say, well, you can be who you want to be. I love you no matter what.
That's
and
right.
Love you just as much if you want to go and do whatever else you want to do.
And that's the thing, exactly. That they're their own entity, they're their own person, and it's not for you to just look. Children are going to be steered into things that you're interested in if they're part of it and whatever. And my son grew up in a bloody motorsport workshop, so he went off to become a mechanic, which I'm very proud of. And he was a bloody sharp driver, but no, he didn't take off and have a career out of it. He didn't pursue it, and that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
He's got
to carve his own path in life and do what he's strong, what his strengths are. But, he chose you to be his dad for a reason. And maybe that was all that background, he knew what you're going to contribute to his growing and what his knowledge is. But doesn't mean he has to be a carbon copy of you.
Just doesn't have to be. No. Exactly right. Yeah. No. I think about how, if you're honest and you look at your life and you look at your father's or your mother or whatever, you take the good and some of the bad and you go. But ultimately, it's your decision. You've got free will.
Yep. And this is the journey of the soul, which I love so much because, it is about all the different bits and pieces that, it's like an eclectic bag of tricks that you collect along the way, along your journey. And then it's up to you then as you go through, like, okay, which thing serves me? That one, finish with that one because it serves you for a time and then it's finished with. Just everything that you collect along the way doesn't have to be the complete parcel that you carry with you all the time. At some point you get there, the bag's too full and you've got to put something out to lighten the load.
Oh, man, there's so much truth to that, isn't it? Really?
So you go through and go, do I need this right now? No. Okay, chuck that one out. You know, it served me. It's been great. And then, you know, keep things that are really important to you that are still motivating you and driving you forward. But if it doesn't serve you anymore, then get rid of it.
Yeah. Why is it taking up space?
Exactly. And that's all part of evolution of the soul and our soul's journey. You know, and that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Exactly right. What's the meaning of life? There you go.
There you go.
It's
you
just
don't need
solved
to
it,
bother
right?
anymore, you know.
Job done, right?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Gosh.
Well, now we're coming towards the end of the show. So is there, like, because I do derail you terribly every single week.
That's all right. You've done pretty well today.
Okay. I try. I try. Is there any other subjects that you'd like to cover?
I think it was more about, you know, that, you know, people knowing that if they want to conceive a child and, you know, have a conscious conception and bring them in with that intention to bring them through, and being aware of all the signs of, you know, that they may be around.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, knowing that if you want to be open to that, then it's about setting your intention and then even asking spirit for signs and then being open to what those signs are. It might even be like a book drops off a shelf and it just the title of it or the page it opens up at is giving you the answer to something that you asked for, really random things. Or it may be the cloud formation suddenly form into the shape of something that you're needing an answer for. You know, when you're open to, when you're observant and you're opening to messages from spirit, it comes in all different ways.
Really interesting you say that. You mentioned the book. There's a book sitting there right in front of us that we actually had the gentleman who wrote this book, a young fella, came in, and what's the name of that book? Decide Your Destiny. Yeah.
Very apt.
Very apt. I mean, look, there you go. Now, that book should not be there at the moment, right? Okay. It's supposed to be in the other room. Someone's picked it up and was looking at it, which is fantastic. Okay. Good to do that. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's kind of
synchronicities.
It leads on to exactly what you said.
Synchronicities, being open to, you know, the signs.
Yeah. Actually, give the book a plug if you could, because tell you what, good fella.
It's a good title. I like the title already. So, Decide Your Destiny, written by Kyle Spirides. How do you say it?
I think it's
good-looking young man there.
Spirides,
From
I
a
believe.
33% chance of surviving to living out my dream life in every heartbeat. Sounds like a pretty good book to read to me.
Damn good book. And I've had the absolute pleasure of speaking to Kyle. What an absolutely fantastic fella. We've got some copies of the book here. So if anyone would like to purchase one, I have no idea how much they are. This is how much I'm. But he dropped some off. Really lovely guy. But I just think that the fact of the conversation we're having and the fact that I'm looking down and it says decide your destiny. I love that.
Yes, because you can decide your destiny right this moment. And if you want to bring in a child, you know, let me know if you would like help in that area, because that's my passion.
That's your passion, exactly right.
Helping conscious parents to actually achieve a conscious conception and then follow them on their journey to help them through, you know, this connection with their soul or the soul of their baby, all through the journey to have a beautiful, empowering birth experience and bring that child in love.
And it's a really beautiful thing that you do, honestly. And everybody I've ever met who's had anything to do with you through that birthing experience speaks so highly. I can't. I haven't personally, you know, I haven't used your services, but everybody I've spoken to, because, you know, my baby making days are well behind me. I like to practice still. But,
again.
No, honestly, I think the world of you. I think the world of the work that you're doing. I think it's really, really important. We need to change this whole way we look at these sorts of things. We really do.
Definitely. Well, I'm here to change the paradigm of birth, but also to raise the consciousness on planet Earth, because if we all start living in love and joy, we're going to raise the frequency here and we'll change the world.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be the end of the troll. How good would that be? All right. If I want to get hold of you, I know because I've got your phone number. But for other people, right, who want to get hold of you, how do we do it?
Yeah. Well, my website is soulbirth.com.au, or you can email me faye@soulbirth.com.au.
Too easy. Thanks for being part of Soulbirth here on Edge Radio Australia.
Thanks, everyone.